Sorry, guys. Just adding to Facebook here. Getting online. There we go. How's everyone doing this Monday morning, Memorial Day in the U.S.? We're remembering those who, I think it's more about people who died than went to war. I'm not sure, but someone in the States could clarify. And I'm just going to share this on Facebook. Just bear with me for 1 second because Facebook's always the slowest. Welcome, everybody. I've been live. I don't even know what's going on here today. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, I just wanted to say hello Monday morning, the 25th. Some people are still sleeping as it's Memorial Day. It's normal here in Canada. It's about 30 degrees. Going to be 30 degrees today, so it's nice. Got the garden started to plant. I'm actually doing a live from outside, so I'm happy about that. So things to talk about today. So yeah, so as I mentioned, I had this blood glucose monitor installed last week. So I've been trying to monitor basically my blood sugar and how I respond to eating different things. And interestingly, it's been very, very level. So it hasn't spiked much. I even tried drinking 3 tablespoons of maple syrup to try and get a spike, and I couldn't get it to go. So I don't know exactly what this means yet. So I got to talk to my my health coach. But I think it just means my body's a good response to sugar. So the whole point is like seeing how stress and food affects your sugar response and how you feel at the time. So I got that on. I'm going to be measuring it for another week, and then I'm starting a whole protocol of taking herbs and do a parasite cleanse, maybe a juice fast. So it's that time of year for spring cleaning. It's been a little bit late. Every once in a while, I'd really like to just give the whole body a good cleanse. I'm going to be looking into doing some coffee enemas too, and hear a lot of good things about that. I haven't tried that. How it really flushes out the liver. I know someone who did it for, I think, 30 or 60 days and just reversed all kinds of health issues, allergies, sensitivities, stuff like that. So worth a shot. So I'll keep you going. Lips, you got one too? Yeah. So a lot of fasting I do, and it seems like it really helps to control my blood sugar. Anyway, so on the weekend, I did a poll because it's been interesting just watching Facebook and how people are responding to basically how people are responding to posts. And I noticed that so I put a post. So the post questions were basically when someone likes something or is into something that you really, really dislike, well, answer A was I wish I had the post here. Answer A was basically you immediately want to sort of dislike the person. B is you want to understand why they could actually like something that you really hate, and never C is like I totally just don't give a crap. And it's interesting the responses that I got. A lot of people are in B. But I was really just thinking about like what's that first impulse? You know what I mean? So like let's just say you watch CNN and this is another good question. Those people who watch CNN, I would love to find someone that watches CNN and actually really likes Donald Trump. Because I feel that, something like that, like they're always like on his case since day one. And most people that I met that watch Donald Trump are very scared of COVID. They hate Donald Trump. And, a lot of the other agendas that CNN pushes, so then it's like, what is your response when you disagree with someone? And then how do you sort of build this belief system, And then there's a video that I shared also going to talk about in a few minutes that I found super interesting on how people are influenced. So I question people to really dig deep. And I remember myself in the beginning where I would like, and I'm probably, the reason I put that poll up is because I myself probably fall into a lot of the time, like, like when someone disagrees with something or posts something that I'm totally against, the first impulse is like, oh, okay, I don't like this person. I don't want to talk to this person. It's not really I don't like them. It's like, okay, there's going to be an argument here or something. Like I know how they're going to respond. It's going to be uncomfortable. But what I found myself doing was really like looking into, trying to understand how people can um, have that other perspective. And it started with some conspiracy theories back in the day. Like one of them was flat Earth, and like flat Earth is pretty crazy. I'm not sure if there's any flat Earthers watching out there. And I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure the Earth is not flat. Okay. But when there's a lot of people that are starting to say, hey, the Earth might be flat, it's like, instead of calling them completely crazy, it's okay, let me try to understand why they're so convinced that the Earth is flat. And you go into the arguments, and some of them can be very convincing. And then you sort of lose sort of touch with, hey, wait a minute, what do I even believe? So I do not believe the Earth is flat at this point in the moment in time. I think anything is possible in this reality. I think that when we all believe something, like reality is malleable and it can shift. So maybe the Earth can be flat and round at the same time. But anyways, it's interesting to start seeing, and then you have more of an understanding where, it's like, okay, like I understand because of this and reason, they're sort of convinced that this could be true. And then you get to the mainstream media today, like all the things that you see online on the TV are, painting this picture. It gets your emotions involved. And when you see things enough time, you start to believe it. And then, people who answer the letter C, which I totally don't give a shit, is like, that's, I think, where you want to go, where you're sort of indifferent, where you don't emotionally get invested in things, but, you can have an open-minded conversation about it. So that was sort of the thought process. It's like how, like being aware of how you respond to other people that don't agree with you or that don't put something that you agree with. Try to understand their perspective. I think it's a really healthy way of sort of expanding your own awareness, first of all. But then also just understanding why other people believe things. And then this goes into the next thing, which I was thinking a bit about, is like the providers of information. So who are the providers of information, and how important is it to have good information? So when it comes to the coronavirus, everything that's going on right now, it's who is actually supplying the data, and then who is interpreting the data and translating to something that you and I can understand. And when you really start looking into it, and the numbers that come out from the CDC, and then how people interpret and extrapolate that data, it gets really, really confusing. But you can see how you can spin it to create, a story. And storytelling has become more important than actual information. It's how do you sort of shift that story, and how have we been sort of led to believe a certain thing is true or not true? And then even beyond that is like, do the providers of information that we trust, do they have an agenda? Do they have an intention of what they want people to sort of see? What's the angle they want to see? Like when you see like a picture sometimes in the media, and like one picture, there's a funny one. It's a kid, and he's got a boot on his head. When you look at it, it looks like this kid is like getting his head squashed in. And when you look out further, it's his own hand in a boot putting it on his head. So depending on which part of the picture, you're going to make sort of a decision on what you believe. So anyways, so who's providing the information? Is the information accurate? And, what do you believe based on the information? So it's really, really interesting. And then, a lot of us think that we're not influenced. We think that we're, we have our beliefs, and like the outside world is not really influencing us. And there's a lot of, new documentary and stuff coming up about how like Facebook and Facebook ads for influence. And there's this Netflix show which is called Magic for Humans. I don't know if you watch it, but I shared it on my Facebook post the other day, yesterday. And it's 3 influencers, and there's this guy doing this show, and he asked them, do you think you're influenced? And he asked them to like critique his social media. So he shows them some pictures, and they're like really looking at it, and blah, blah, blah. It's about his kid and a watermelon and an ice cube tray. And they're like just critiquing, saying, this is not good. This is good. You can do better there. And he ends up giving them all these random things, a box full of random items. And there's this really cool space that has all these different places you can take pictures. And he lets them go randomly, take a bunch of pictures. And then he asks them to choose one. that they would share on their social media. So combined, they had 6 million followers, and they had they were really interesting people. And they couldn't see what each other was doing, but it ended up that all three of them ended up sharing the same picture with the same background with the same item, and they couldn't figure out why. And when he explained to them, when he was showing them the pictures of his social media, and each one there were some things that were planted. So he showed them a picture of an ice cube. Even the hashtag they used was simpler because he wanted them to use it because he was using the words like tray and cool in all the examples. So it was an amazing. I don't know if this was staged or not. If it's TV, it could be. How quickly and easily someone could be influenced by, touching on some subconscious things. So imagine what you're exposed to all day, what you listen to in the news, who your circle of friends is, and how much influence they have on what you believe and how they can influence you. So it's really, really kind of crazy in that regard. So I guess at the end of the day, I don't even know what my conclusion is for this live this morning, but it was basically, asking questions, I think, is the bottom line. Is, like, what do I believe and why do I believe it? Is this something really that resonates in my heart that I want to believe to be true? Where am I getting that information from? Who's providing that information? And is it real? And I think that's the age we live in nowadays. No one really knows for sure. And all these people are coming out of lockdown early. Are they exposing themselves? Are we going to create a second wave? Are we being locked up because our rights are taken away? So yeah, I'd love to get some feedback from you guys. What you guys think about this? Who you trust for your data? Who can we trust nowadays? Is there an agenda? China, U.S., deep state? Interesting questions for conversation. Yeah, that's all I got for today, guys. So let me know what do you guys think? Shoot me a message. Oh yeah, another one that I wanted to bring up is I guess this is the important one here. So when you start listening to something or start believing something, or start following something or affiliate yourself with a group, do you automatically need to agree with everything that group or person's ideology stands for? And if so, does that mean you are at odds with everything that they're against? So, for example, Democratic Party, you see this online, you're a Democrat or a Republican, and, if one side has all these different values, if you don't agree with them, then you're agreeing with the other side. Biden had a great example. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black, which was the craziest thing. I'm surprised it hasn't got more publicity than it has. But it's I see people, when I post something on Facebook, say, "Oh, you're fear mongering, and because you're like this, or you must support this and that." And it's very dangerous where you have to agree with all of one side of something, or you have to agree with all of the other side. Or else, you start questioning yourself. Wait a minute, why don't I agree with this, but I do agree with that? And we should be able to tune into ourselves and agree with whatever we want to, or whatever we feel is what we believe in, rather than having to choose a whole set of prepackaged things that, I'm a Christian, I believe in this. I'm a Democrat, I believe in this. I'm a Republican, I believe in all this. Because it's all so divisive, It's so divisive, and it creates you questioning your own beliefs, where you have to pick sides on a whole list of things, whereas you might believe on some of the other. And then maybe ask yourself, am I have more in common than I think? Because maybe I do believe in some things that they're saying. Maybe I do believe in some things that the other things are saying. And I don't have to feel a certain way out of fear I'm going to be rejected or not welcome, not liked. So I guess at the end of the day, it's gaining more self-awareness from all these things that are around us triggering us right now. So ask questions, don't attack people, debate or have a conversation about the subject at hand, and just really feel into what do you really believe in, what feels true to you, and why. And I always ask that question, why do I believe that? And when you see other people that are angry or upset or have a very strong opinion, instead of saying these guys are against me because I'm not supposed to like them because they represent this, say, okay, why are they upset? Or why are they fighting so strongly for this sort of viewpoint? And you might learn something. I've learned a lot of things. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. That's my 15 minutes on a Monday. I hope you have a great week. If you have any questions or any comments or any things that you want to chat about next Monday, I'd love to tune in with you guys. Someone on Instagram sent me a bunch of questions that they want to ask me just personally, how I got into this kind of stuff. So I'm gonna start with that next weekend. You can believe in certain aspects of a group or people, but you shouldn't be kicked out of a club because of slightly different opinions. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah. So, anyways, tap into that this week. See how you feel. Maybe we'll discuss a little bit more if you get some comments of how that's coming up for you. I'd love to chat about that. But yeah, we shouldn't be put into these small boxes and categories. I'll talk to you guys next Monday. Have an amazing day. Enjoy. It's beautiful weather wherever you are in the world. It's beautiful here in Toronto. So if it's not where you are, enjoy it anyways. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Peace. Or sorry, next Monday. And there's breath work. This week it's going to be Wednesday again if you guys are tuning in for breath work. Okay, Wednesday night. See you there.